Question: do you live in perfect world? You know, a world where everything turns up roses all the time and you never, ever, ever make a mistake. Let's talk about this. Back in a minute. I don't know about you, but I definitely do not live in perfect world, a world of which we never ever make a mistake. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even people who are on top of things with their money sometimes can make a mistake, and that can include you and that can include me. Let's talk about those weeks where we just didn't budget right and we find ourselves trying to stretch the old time before the old paycheck kicks in. Here we go. So, what happens in a case like this? What happens if you find yourself without much money or none at all, really, until payday? Let's talk about this. Okay, so the first thing that I would recommend is tap in on your emergency fund. What? You don't have an emergency fund? This is the very reason why I encourage emergency funds. Even if your emergency fund, if you just started not that long ago, you have like 50 or $100, that is better than nothing. Keep all of this in mind. Think about something. Let's say you had zero, and then you realize, hey, wait a minute, I have $50 stashed away, or I have $100 stashed away. That can make all the difference in the world until your next paycheck. Am I right or am I right? So never forget humble beginnings and small starts. Next, if possible, sell something. Sell something that you have been meaning to get rid of anyway. You will be amazed how selling this and selling that, things that you really didn't want anymore, things that have taken up space cluttering, there are so many resources to do that, and I know that you are fully aware of that. Next, cancel all unnecessary outside appointments that require you to travel, require gas, require car fare. If you could just not do it that way, do it over the phone, do it, on a video chat or whatever, just hold off that meeting or whatever, reschedule it. I'm not saying cancel it forever, reschedule it until you get your financials straightened out when you get paid again. And that's another show. We'll talk about how to stop living paycheck to paycheck because obviously that could be a problem, right? Next, sit down and reallocate budget so this doesn't happen again. Yes, probably what happened was the slip up in the financials was because you just weren't paying attention. And this is a common thing. They're not paying attention here, they're not paying attention there. All of a sudden, before you know it, it adds up. The money is gone, and you still have a week and a half to go to payday. What? Yes, this has been known to happen to many, many people. Is it a pleasant experience? No. Next, look back on every expense incurred in this last month that you messed up, the last few weeks. What happened? Analyze it, figure it out. Try to make sure that you avoid that from ever happening again. Mark it down if you have to. Sometimes if you put things in writing, no, actually, correction. Most times when you put things in writing, it makes it more real, more tangible. You could look at it every once in a while and say, okay, I'm going to avoid that thing. Even if you have to hang that reminder on your bathroom mirror or whatever, just say, okay, I want to avoid this again. Next, absolutely stop spending money on things you don't need. I know this is tough sometimes, and sometimes there's that humanity side of us that, but we want that little trinket. It cheers us up. It makes us feel better or whatever. I don't know. What makes you feel better? A hungry stomach with a beautiful trinket, or a full belly and you could get the trinket at another time? Think before you spend. Everybody's situation is different. So you have to figure out what works best for your family, whether you are a family of one, a family of two, a family of three, whatever, what works for your family. I can listen to 1,000 videos and they all make great sense, but is it applicable for your circumstance? Only you know your particular circumstance and you work with that. Next, this one's kind of a tough one. Somebody may not like to hear it, but gotta have to hear it. Find a better paying job. What? Do the math. Sometimes we forget and we don't do the math before we accept the position, which is a huge mistake, of which I did a past video on. It's very important if you're looking for a job to do the whole math. Don't just get so happy hearing the base pay and this and that. Factor in your car fare. Again, your travel. Do you have a two-fare zone? Your childcare. All this is coming out, out, out. Sometimes it's not even worth it. So therefore, do your math, okay? Also, if you're finding yourself short every single month and you've cut back as much as humanly possible, and I mean, if you cut back as much as humanly possible and you still find yourself in a lurch, this is telling me something about the situation. This suggests to me that more income has to come in. So find a side. If you love your job, even though it doesn't pay great, and actually I kind of sort of get that, and it fills every other thing perfectly, I do get that. Perhaps you could figure out a side hustle to do at the same time, because obviously it is needed. Or this has benefited people. Don't be shy to ask for more hours. Sometimes you could work out a situation like that on your current job. Talk to your employer. Say, you know what? I could really use more hours. More than likely, it's very possible that your employer might need the extra help. You don't know that unless you try. So it may work out both ways. And as I mentioned before, dip into your emergency fund. And if you don't have one, begin one as soon as possible. Yes, absolutely. This is like lesson 101 about emergency funding. If you find yourself like with that gap of time between that you didn't realize how really broke you are until your next paycheck type thing, and you don't have an emergency fund, that's when you really feel the pinch. Keep that feeling in mind so that you could squirrel away whatever you could squirrel away. I don't care if it's $5. And by the way, you guys still doing a $5 a week challenge? Let me know. I'm going to check in on this every once in a while. Probably in a few videos from now, I'm going to go over this. Just wondering. By now, some folks may have about $15 to $20 already in their $5 challenge, which sounds like minutia to some people, but if you're stretching from paycheck to paycheck and you have nothing, isn't it nice to know that the extra money is there to get you through that gap? I'm just saying, listen, I'm from the real world here. I'm just, talking about the real world, okay? A lot of people don't like to do that, but I do. I talk to the real world. Just saying, real world. Okay, this is very important. Do not give up. Always know in your heart of hearts, things will get better. It's a great idea to break the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm going to delve more into it in upcoming videos. So stay tuned for that, because that's a very important thing, to break that cycle. You do not have to be part of the paycheck to paycheck club for the rest of your life. I'm sure you don't want that for yourself or for your family. Just saying, All right, so there you go for today. In the meantime, this has been Jan from New York City. Thank you so much for viewing. Why? Because I really do appreciate you. Don't forget to come back in the future for some more savings, tips, and tricks. And have an amazing, fantastic day. Put a smile on your face, a little love in your heart. Things will get better. Take good care now. Bye-bye.